Hello and welcome to the demonstration portion of the CareerTech podcast. I'm Ryan Roten, your host, and today I'm speaking with Damon Gage from Vervoe. And before we dive into the demonstration, I just want to remind those watching, if you have not listened to the podcast portion of Vervoe's interview with Omer Molad, please do so. You can find that podcast at iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, or even right directly in your favorite podcast player. Okay, so with that, we're going to dive right in now. Damon, welcome to the demonstration portion of the CareerTech podcast.
Thank you, Ryan. It's great to be here today.
Well, I appreciate you taking time out of your day to share the product with us. And if you want to go ahead, you can share your screen and we'll move into the demo. I am really excited about this. I know as a customer, I should probably get that out here on the video portion too. As a customer, I've played around a little bit with Vervoe inside, although I will say I've not yet hired an employee, so I haven't been able to fully utilize the functionality, but I've seen it. And I love the way things are set up inside. It's very user-friendly, and I'm excited to share that with everybody who's watching today.
Excellent, Ryan. Thank you. I appreciate the introduction, and excited to share a little bit about Vervoe and the platform itself today.
Awesome. Let's take a look.
Okay, great. And you should see the platform pop up there. Fantastic. So today, Ryan, I'm going to focus on doing a walkthrough, a very short overview, try to hit on our high points of the Vervoe talent trial platform. The goal today really is to provide a high-level overview of the capabilities, and if there's interest to dive more deeply, we would love for your listeners to engage directly with us, and we're happy to do a one-on-one demo at that point and dive deeper into the details.
Okay, perfect.
So, so 4 critical areas that you and I talked about a little bit earlier that we'll try to touch on today specifically for the demo. One, we want to start with what we'll call the candidate experience and show folks how easy it is for the candidates to get onto the platform, to access what we call talent trials or assessments, and go through the process in order to increase completion rates. Secondly, we'll take a look at a sample talent trial. What does a real life scenario look like? How do we create those? And some of the types of questions that we have available on the platform. And then third, take a look at the employer or the recruiter view of the candidates and see what it looks like in the back end and how do you manage that process. And then last but not least, certainly, we'll talk about our assessment library or where we house our talent trials and talk about the various aspects and components of our talent trials and how those can be used within the platform itself.
Awesome. Sounds fantastic. I'm excited.
Perfect.
Let's do this.
All right. Here we go. Fantastic. So let's start with the candidate invite specifically. And right now you are looking at what we'll call the employer view or the recruiter view. I'm going to slide an email over just so we can see what this looks like. Click in an invitation that was sent across. Now, you can invite and folks to the platform in a variety of different ways. You can do it by inviting them via a shareable link that you could put on a job posting. You could post on all the social networks with one of those links. And our most popular way of inviting candidates is via email. So having them receive a magic link that they can click on, and that will bring them directly into the talent trial, Ryan, and they can begin showing off their skills and capabilities. And that's specifically the process that I'm going to walk through here today. Okay. What you'll see in this email is that there's branding. In this case, I used Emerson Electric as a sample for us. Completely customizable with logo and coloring as well as language. So great opportunity to be able to showcase your employer branding as you're engaging with the candidates as well. I'm going to go ahead and click on what we call our final online stage here. And this is really going to take me to view the interview itself. So that's really all the candidate has to do. They get that email, they click on that link, they are now on the platform and able to engage with the platform itself.
And so you can post, you're probably going to tell me, but you can post videos here, I see too. That's pretty cool.
Absolutely. So there are a variety of different ways to engage with candidates on the platform. The whole concept here is really to give them a real world interaction engagement, something like they would experience when they're applying for a role or in the role itself to understand how they would perform, right? It's really about their real world skills. The focus of this talent trial is, again, the real world scenarios so they can showcase their abilities for the specific role that they're applying for.
I'm just going to say, the question on this screen makes me really nervous because how many times have we seen something like this happen today? And I think it's funny you pointed out Wendy's, because Wendy's is one of the better social media companies out there that knows how to handle stuff like this. But I mean, this is definitely real world. This happens.
It absolutely is, Ryan. And that's the whole concept, right? It's really, we don't care what your resume looks like. We really understand, do you have the capabilities that allow you to interact in real world scenarios? And that was really what we're looking, is to showcase and have these people be hired by the merit of what they have, like what are their capabilities. So, and we enable you to do that by a variety of different things here. One, creating skills tests via immersive assessments, and we'll see this in just a second, but it'd be via spreadsheets or document creation or designing something. The real work samples, like what you're seeing here. Conducting coding challenges. We'll also take a quick look at that. And it might even be a personality quiz, right? This could be cognitive or personality that we're looking at. And again, what you're seeing up here is the ability to also use video to enable the personal interaction. In this case, what we've got up on the screen is a real world example of problem solving via a writing example is what we're going to ask you to do. But we've got a video posted of a customer encounter. There's been some customer outrage over the engagement, as you just saw. And now we want you to showcase in written format how you would actually handle the response. Talk about a real world example, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
This second question, and this is something that we get all the time, Ryan. The second question is a time question. So that means that everything here is obfuscated from the candidate's view until they actually click on the question, right? So they can't go out and do a bunch of searching. You actually have a timed component to it. Once they do, you can see that there is actually, and I'll click on start, and what you're going to see pop up here is actually an immersive assessment. And what they're asking about is, okay, I've got all of this data on the screen. I want you in 10 minutes to give me a complete summary for your CMO of the data that's here, and gives you, again, a real world interaction on an Excel spreadsheet to go out and understand what the capabilities of the candidates are, right?
Absolutely. I chuckle because when I was in the corporate world, I mean, how many times did I get asked, hey, I've got a meeting in 15 minutes or 10 minutes. Can you update this slide that you gave me last week or something like that with the data that came out today, So it's so real world. It's bringing back memories.
Absolutely. And really easy to get into. And again, the idea here is, from a timing perspective, is making sure that we're not having somebody that's going to go out or bring somebody else in, right? It's really about the candidate and how they perform. And we do get those questions, like, how do I make sure that it's the right candidate? And this is a great way to do that.
Right.
So the third question here, pretty straightforward. This is a code editor that's asking me to showcase my JavaScript skills. And again, a real world scenario, right? Very powerful, but very straightforward, right? You can imagine that it doesn't matter what the language is. What it's about is really giving an example to an applicant or a candidate, giving them the chance to showcase their capabilities in a specific language in real time.
Yeah, and this is what Omer was telling us earlier. The company, somebody who is trying to say that they know JavaScript gets to this question and goes, yeah, I'm gonna have to self-select myself out of this. I'm done.
Exactly right. Great way to see their skills. So the next question here, question 4, I think we're on another time question. It's going to actually require that I submit a video response, right? So a video. So again, in order to help prevent plagiarism, we often hear that question. I cannot see what the question is until I actually click on it. But video is a fantastic way to get a feel for the candidate and their personality, right? We always, there are certainly some guidelines that we're going to suggest. We're not going to have you put too many videos in. Lots of people may feel a little bit uncomfortable in doing videos, but it is here. It is a tool that can be used in combination with immersive assessments, in combination with written responses. It's just another nice way to be able to engage. And again, super easy to use. You get, a question that comes along with it. Explain to me the BANT sales methodology. Now give me a brief recorded video explanation, and it will upload it directly here.
And I assume it just uses the camera on your computer.
Exactly right.
Yeah,
Exactly
I'd be
right.
out. I don't know the BANT methodology, so I'm done. I can't go further.
Exactly.
Does that
Well,
mean
and
banter?
again, real world scenarios, right? Budget, authority, need, and time frame. If I don't know those things, how can I approach a customer, right? Those are the
Yeah,
critical
exactly.
pieces. So, this one is very straightforward. Question 5, good old fashioned multiple choice questions. These type of questions can have multiple answers, and they can also be set up, Ryan, with the ability to do auto grading capabilities, so you can actually auto progress folks through. If you need just the simple questions, again, just a pretty basic response there. And then certainly last but not least, again, ability to provide a video review in a time format, request a response to a video to understand how the candidate would react. And it's, again, this is actually a video that they get to watch and now respond to with a video. So it's all these combination of variety, various types of questions combined to create an environment that is as real life as possible, and the ability to do this at scale in a way that also allows the candidates to feel comfortable and do it from home on their time frame.
Yeah, fantastic. I like the video piece. I'm seeing more and more of that. Is there, and maybe I missed it, but is there a way if I'm an employer to basically say at the beginning, by the way, there's video in this thing, so dress appropriately?
Absolutely, absolutely. And this is part of that email messaging. You can create
Okay.
as much in the messaging as you want. You can customize this to, hey, a couple of notes from the Emerson team, be prepared to talk on video, but, all of those pieces for sure. And you can also communicate with them via the portal as well. So yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Perfect. One last thing before we move to the next one here.
Yeah.
As a candidate, before I submit my answers, is there a way for me to review what I've given? I know some of them were timed, but is there a way that I can go back and say, just look at everything again? Or is when I hit submit, it's out there?
You can certainly review them before you submit, but once you
Okay.
do complete the interview, yeah, it would certainly be. But you have the ability to scroll back up and take a look at what
Okay.
maybe I don't want to do question 4 right away. I want to go to question 5 and I can come back. You certainly have the ability to use that as a candidate. It's as easy to use from a candidate's perspective as you can imagine. And Ryan, I think you've seen it before in person, but we make it, the whole goal is to make sure that the candidate experience is as positive as possible.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
So let's switch gears here. We talked, specifically about 2 different things so far. 1, how do we get candidates on the platform? And then 2, what do those real live talent trials assessments look like in real life for the candidate? And now I think what we'll do is take a look at what we're seeing on the screen, which is actually, again, the employer's or the recruiter's view of the candidates that are applying for a specific role. So the whole goal is really to give the employers and the recruiters the ability to hire the candidate who is got the greatest level of skill, is the best fit for the role, but being able to give all candidates the opportunity to showcase their skills. So we call it the 360-degree view of the hiring funnel, right? To see across all the unique stages and view how the candidates are performing in the process. As the employer or the recruiter, you have the ability to decide how many stages, and we'll call this what you're seeing here, talent trial stage, skills, sales skills, multiple choice, background check. All of these are different stages within the application for a technical sales automation projects role with Emerson, okay? And you have the ability to put in additional stages. You can do up to 3 live talent trials, and you can put additional stages like background check and face-to-face interview. So as candidates are progressing through the platform, and maybe as a recruiter, you want to showcase that with the employer themselves and be able to show them how things are going, you can share all that data and you can see directly within this view how the candidates are progressing through the process.
Yeah, I think this is really cool. It's got a Kanban board, Scrum board kind of feel to it where you can, move people through and visually see very quickly, who's where and where you are in the, so like if I'm a hiring manager and I am looking for my talent management team to find somebody for me, and there's because in my corporate days, there's always that miscommunication, if you will, or lack of communication between hiring managers, talent, where are you at? What's the status of my candidates? I can log in and look. I can just see it.
Absolutely.
I think that's pretty cool.
Great. And it gives a real complete view. So yeah. And I know you and Omer talked about this in the podcast, but the concept of having a large number of applicants or candidates coming through, as candidates are moving through the various stages and completing these talent trials, they're automatically graded by our AI and machine learning, so that when I'm coming in and reviewing numerous candidates, I actually come in and I have a stack rank order in order of performance, listing the candidates so I know where to start in my process to hire the best fit for the job, right? I can actually see their scores popping up as I'm going through. And from here, we can certainly go into each of the candidates as well. We can review their answers. We can share a link to the candidate themselves with, maybe it's an employer, maybe it's another one of my colleagues within the organization that I want to have review the candidate. We could have a profile of the candidate that's here, and we can also share comments internally across the organization about the candidate and their performance and how we view it. Okay, so just another great, easy way of being able to understand the candidate, share that information across the organization, and help make sure that we're hiring the best person for the role. Okay,
my mind is spinning on ways that ways companies can become a lot more efficient using this.
Good, I love it. Yeah, and you can see it. It's just a great way to keep everything organized, because you know that there's so much information being exchanged and there's so much data to be reviewed, to have it in a nice, clean interface like this, and really easy to use too. And not only from the candidate standpoint, but also from the employer or the recruiter standpoint. It really is very easy.
Yeah, quick question. I noticed you've got completed, you can see when they completed the skills tests on there. From an employer standpoint, because I know it takes so many days to complete the hiring cycle, are there metrics that employers can pull out of this to say, look, we hired this position for that, this person for that position in X number of days, which is better than what we've done before? Is that built in as well?
Yeah, you can see I've been a bit of a slacker, and my candidate 3, Julie, who's been sitting here for 24 days. So you'll have to forgive me, because I haven't attended to Julie more quickly. But absolutely, if I was that much of a slacker, the ability to report on all of those details is part of the platform as well. So you could actually get that kind of data out and be able to understand in a cohesive way, where are we falling down? Why is Damon not progressing Julie through the funnel when she's at 100%? So absolutely. Great question, Ryan. Yep.
I could see employers loving that feature, because, today I'm sure they track it all manually, and we all know what that's like.
Yeah, absolutely. Good. So all done very easily via the Vervoe platform. You do have the ability to progress candidates manually through the stages. You can also have them automatically progressed if you're doing auto-graded tests. And you can also, part of this is the ability to reject them as well, and have them, maybe it's not a good fit. Stacy didn't perform well at this point, so we're going to go ahead and we would send her a rejection letter as part of the process if she was rejected. And all of that language is customizable and can be easily sent directly from the platform as well.
Wow. So candidates actually get notified of their status.
Absolutely. Even when a candidate is progressed, they get notified, right? So you've been progressed to the next stage. You would receive one of those emails. You have your own portal as a candidate to see where you're at in the process and be able to log into and say, okay, I'm still under review. Looks like I've been processed at this point. And you would get those automatic emails as well, notifying you that you've either moved to the next stage or have not necessarily, may have been rejected at that point and received a letter.
Yeah, you guys are taking away a lot of the problems that I hear HR, talent management folks, and even candidates complain about with the job search process, is lack of communication. And this is basically eliminating that problem.
Glad to hear it. We think so. We're believers, Ryan, for sure. So I'm glad to hear that it makes sense for you as well. Last but certainly not least, I want to touch briefly on the talent trial library. Talent trial library is where all of the content is stored, and that you can easily access and review existing content. And this is what we call our talent trial library. So we have, I think it's close to 400 individual professional contributors, Ryan, who now create talent trials or assessments on an ongoing basis and add to this library. So you can come in at any time as a customer of Vervoe and pull anything off of the shelves from the public talent trial library. And you can do a number of different things. One, you can just go ahead and pull it off the shelf and use it as is. You're welcome to do that. This is all for our customers here. So it's a significant library, continually growing. It's a breathing organism, if you will, always evolving. You can also, and you saw some types of questions, you also have the ability to create your own talent trials as you're going through. And that might be that I go into one of these existing talent trials and I would just let's say I want to customize it. So I would save it into my talent trials here and go ahead and maybe I pull 1 or 2 questions out and then I add 5 or 6 that are my own, right? So you can kind of mix and match. And then certainly last but not least is the ability to work directly with our organizational psychology group to create a bespoke or custom talent trial that is specific to what you are looking to understand from your candidates. And that is something that we see lots of folks do. And as you can imagine, no matter how many talent trials that we add to this library, somebody, director of IT at company A is going to have a very different requirement than director of IT at company B. The concept here is, though, if there is content here, you can learn from it. You can come in and create from your own off of it, but you can also work with us and we'll help you to design something that's very bespoke for your organization specifically, because everybody has a little different requirement, right? It just is by definition the way that it works, because all companies have their own special requirements. So
I thought this was really cool because I mean, this is a huge repository of potential questions to ask. And
absolutely,
if you search for a job title up top, you may get 3 or 4 or 5 different things that pop up, and you can go through each one of them and say, you know what, I don't ask this question, but I should. So you can add that to your next list of questions. I just thought when I saw this, I was like, wow, this is really cool. You can make sure that you're asking all the right questions. And that's what Omer and I were talking about earlier. You can actually, over time, because you have your own questions, you can tailor it specifically to your company and your culture, and continuously just improve the process as you go through. And because it's all on one platform, you don't have to worry about, somebody who saved their best questions on their computer and then, left the company, and now nobody knows where those questions are.
Spot on. Yeah, no, exactly. And Ryan, one of the other things, and you'll notice I've got my jobs here, but I've got active jobs and I've got inactive jobs. And I've clearly created a few over time, but I can pull out, and to your point, once I hire a customer service representative, I may want to go on to hire something else. So I go ahead and inactivate one of my roles, and I can go back in and I can pull that role back out next time we need to hire again. Right. So all of that data is here. All that information is here, easily accessed. And you've seen it. It's easy as literally it's click, and then a lot of it's drag and drop. It's very easy to do and to administer. So
let me ask you this.
Fantastic.
In the active jobs, do you keep track also of the candidates who applied and didn't make it, or you know what I mean? Like for each job, I see you've got it there, but do you have a list of the candidates that were there? So for example, I'm going to reopen that job again, or I'm going to open a new position. You could go back to some of these same people who had applied once before and ask them to come back again. Do that?
Absolutely, 100%. And you actually have the ability, depending on, we do have integrations to some of the ATSs that are out there. If for some reason you don't have a direct integration, we certainly have an export and import via CSV as well, Ryan. So you can keep all that data, all the data about the candidate within their profile within your ATS, or you can come directly here and access that as well. Absolutely.
So you're also building kind of a talent pool, people that you can go to first that were interested in you at one point in time. So if they were interested before, logic says they might be interested again. I think that's pretty cool too.
We are in complete agreement with you. We're in complete agreement. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome. Cool.
Good. So, as I mentioned, really kind of just scratched the surface here. I wanted to keep it short and sweet of the capabilities, but I want to make sure that I offer up an individual demo to anyone that's interested that listens to your show, Ryan, and would be happy to engage. Any other questions from you or anything else that I could touch on that you might be of interest?
Actually, yeah, I do have lots of questions, but I'm not,
Okay.
we don't have enough time to cover it all.
Fair.
But I seriously think what you're doing is very cool. It's a way, as Omer and I were talking, it's a better way to do something that has been done the same way for so long. And that a lot of people would argue is pretty broken. I could see not only employers use this, but I could see recruiters using this as a potential way for them to screen people for positions that they know come up regularly for some of their bigger clients, for example, just to help screen out that way before they present that person to the company.
Yeah, no, you're 100% on, Ryan. And we've actually engaged with 2 out of the 5 top recruiting firms in the country, the names that you would know very well and recognize, and are working with some large recruiting firms today. So it's something that we are also fully agree with you on, and actually have been able to engage and are running some pretty good opportunities for those folks today.
Awesome. Fantastic. Damon, thank you so much for your time. I greatly appreciate it. Again, those people who are watching, if you are interested at all in Vervoe, you need to go check this platform out. It's pretty cool. It's actually going to save you a lot of time, possibly a lot of money. And definitely will prevent you from making incorrect hires in the future. So Damon, what's the best way for them to learn more and get in touch with you?
Yeah, absolutely, Ryan. Thank you very much. And yeah, all about hiring on merit. Let's make sure we get the right people hired, and the results will come along with it. Best way to get in touch with me, Damon@vervoe.com, and you can access me there via email. Also have a phone number I can give you, is 925-408-0278, or send me an email. We'd love to engage. You can also go to the site, click on sales, and someone from the sales organization will get back to you in short order. You have my word.
Look at you go, putting your phone number out.
All in. We're all in.
All right. I love it. Thank you very much again, Damon, for your time. I greatly appreciate it. And for all those watching, please go get out there and go check out Vervoe.
Thanks, Ryan.